Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? Are you sorry we drifted apart?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Mel, my cousin.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm great.
I'm so happy to be talking with you tonight for the next hour or so about love.
Me too. This is a true love podcast. We are your hosts. We are two cousins. My name is Mel, and this is my cousin, Kel.
Yep.
We are Mel and Kel, and
Yes.
we love talking about other people's love lives.
We do. There's always something to learn, you know?
Always. And you might
Always
think
something.
it's none of your business. Don't be nosy. But guys, we are social creatures,
Yes.
and it is a natural instinct as human beings to understand ourselves by talking about other humans.
I agree.
And this podcast, it's honestly made me grow as a person.
Me too.
Because you really realize just how complicated life and relationships are when you look at other people and go, especially the most beautiful, famous people who seem to have it all together, but even they have gone through some crazy, heartbreaking stuff.
They do. I know. I thought about that for today's couple, actually, that no matter how beautiful or successful somebody is, they are still insecure and they don't know what they're doing, and we can all relate. And you know what? Yeah, talking about real people has its difficulties, but it's better than us just talking about, like, fairy tales or something. I mean, we did have a Twilight podcast.
Oh, yeah, we did.
But, you know, we're trying to learn from, like, real relationships, you know? And I think we both think love is real, but it's also not this fantasy that gets fed to you in the movies, you know?
No, it's not.
Yeah. Today, I think that we might be the first people to do a podcast about this couple on an English-speaking podcast because I saw a Spanish one about them, but I searched the podcast. I didn't see anything out there, so this might be the only Alex Turner and Alexa Chung timeline podcast out there.
I know absolutely nothing about this couple, so I am so excited to learn about them.
Yeah, this is kind of a passion project episode for me. I'm really excited to be doing it. But it's the kind of the reason I'm nervous, Mel, is I told you I was nervous because I am so excited that I don't want to let myself down, you know. Is this going to be as great as I thought it would be, you know? Like how I felt about the Paul McCartney one. But
that's how I felt about the JFK Jr. one.
Oh, yeah?
I really felt, I remember I was very sick during that episode too, and I felt like, oh my God, I totally botched it. And that was our most listened to episode.
Yeah,
so.
You must feel good about that. That's our number one podcast. Feel free to promote that one more, honestly. Like, that's our top episode. But anyway, yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I am a big fan of Arctic Monkeys, and I was a big fan of this couple back in my Tumblr days. They were all over Tumblr. And yeah, this episode we're going back to, like, indie rock, cigarettes, rip tights, black combat boots, you know, that whole vibe of the 2000s, early 2010s, which was really prevalent on Tumblr. You know, just imagine beer spilled on the ground, like that kind of vibe.
What a time it was.
Yes. And so this is about Alex Turner. He is the lead singer of the band Arctic Monkeys and also part of the Last Shadow Puppets, his other band, with Miles Kane, who we have mentioned before. He dated Suki Waterhouse in the past. And then Alexa Chung, she is a model, TV presenter, fashion designer, and it girl. if you know what that means. Just kind of a girl that's... I love the concept of the it girl. It's very interesting to me. A girl that's just known for being an individual, basically, being seen out and about, just being an interesting person, being at parties. I don't know.
But there's something sad to me about the it girl, because I do feel like it's a temporary status.
Yes, because, I mean, it's it girl. It's not it woman, you know? Mm-hmm. It doesn't last forever.
It's fleeting.
Yeah.
It's like you are the it girl of the moment.
Yes.
But it will quickly pass.
Yeah, there's always an it girl of a moment. She definitely was an it girl of her moment. Who's like an it girl right now?
I feel like Sydney Sweeney was the it girl, at least of last year. Mm-hmm. I'm not
but
sure
now she's like pretty big. I feel like one thing about it girls is they're usually like not that famous too.
You're so right.
You know,
like Sophia Richie, she was an it girl.
And they're usually affiliated with a specific place too.
Yes, so true.
Yeah.
Everybody is copying their fashion style.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be like Carolyn Kennedy. We did an episode, JFK, Carolyn Kennedy. Just kidding.
But yeah, Carolyn Kennedy definitely was an it girl.
Yes.
And both Alex and Alexa, first, we didn't even acknowledge this yet, their names are basically the same. It's so cute.
That is adorable.
And they're both English, and this was definitely a time of, like, one of the peaks of my Anglophile phase, like, just loving Arctic Monkeys and, like, British TV shows like Skins and Keep Calm and Carry On and Keep Calm, Harry's Still Single, like, all this stuff. So that's what we're talking about today. And one reason Alex and Alexa are so known or so popular, I think, is because of this love letter that was written by Alex, apparently, that was circulated around the internet, but mostly Tumblr. And it's a bit weird. It's on a piece of paper and it's written in cursive by someone who's clearly not Alex. Because at the bottom, it also says Alex Turner's love letter to Alexa Chung. And I saw this love letter back when I was a teenager, and I never forgot it. I still think about it all the time.
Is it like fan fiction?
Well, that's what, you know what? I, in recent years, thought about this letter again, and I wondered, was that even real? Like, that was probably fake. But I'm going to get more into it later. Okay. But I'm going to read the letter right now just to kick us off.
Oh, I love that.
And this was my first, I didn't know much about them at all. I never really looked into their relationship. All I really knew was this letter from Tumblr. And I think a lot of people only knew this letter from Tumblr, so I'm going to read it. It says, "My mouth hasn't shut up about you since you kissed it. The idea that you may kiss it again is stuck in my brain, which hasn't stopped thinking about you since, well, before any kiss. And now the prospect of those kisses seems to wind me up, like when you slip on the stairs and one of the steps hits you in the middle of the back. And the notion of them continuing for what is traditionally terrifying forever excites me to an unfamiliar degree." That's the letter.
Oh, that's it?
Yep, that's it. It's not really a letter, you know, it's like a paragraph. But we'll investigate this later, where this came from.
They sound like lyrics.
I know, it does. It sounds a lot like his lyrics, because he is the lyricist for Arctic Monkeys. But we'll investigate that later.
Okay.
Yes. So, Alex Turner and Alexa Chung, I think that they were much, much, much more famous in England than in America. Mm-hmm. But there were definitely some of us on Tumblr and, you know, watching Skins and stuff that somehow found out about them and were obsessed with them too. But
yeah, I feel like that time period too, us Americans were really obsessed with England.
Yes, we really were. It was like a new British invasion.
Yeah.
I mean, like Harry Potter too. There was just so much in our pop culture that made it seem like England was way better.
Robert Pattinson.
Yes.
Even like Ed Sheeran, like all of those British people.
Lily Allen.
Oh my God, we wanted to beat you guys.
Yes,
and like
we did.
We would wear like British
Yes.
flags on our shirts, even though we had never been there before. We were obsessed. Take it as a compliment, guys.
I did wear a Union Jack sweater, and I remember when I worked at Urban, I remember this English guy was like, "I like your jumper." But that is weird because at that point I had not been to England yet.
I know, yeah. And our Irish grandmother was probably rolling over in her grave about this.
My mom still always says that to me. She's like, my mother would be so upset.
Yeah.
Anyway, 3 words I would use to describe Alex Turner and Alexa Chung would be stylish, festivals, and young.
Oh, sweet.
Yes.
Okay. Nothing ominous there.
No dark one. I know festivals is not an adjective, but it's just so them.
But it fits.
Yeah, they would get along with Vanessa Hudgens in that way.
Oh, yes.
They love the music festivals. So, okay, who are they? Just some quick backstories. Who's Alex Turner? Alex Turner, he's the lead singer of Arctic Monkeys. He has these big brown eyes. He's changed his look a lot over the years. I feel like back in the beginning of Arctic Monkeys, he had kind of a Beatles type of haircut. A little shaggy, but not too long, but longish. And then he had like long hair. And then later on, he started having this kind of like greaser 50s look with like a pompadour. So now he's weirdly doing a almost like Italian mobster look. So he's had a lot of different looks, but I would say, just from observing him over the years, he seems pretty quiet and private. He seems polite, but sometimes serious, but he can still be like silly and a jokester, and it seems like he always has friends and he parties and stuff, but he also seems kind of quiet. Some people say intimidating, and I can kind of see that, maybe because he is quiet. And he has a thick Northern English accent, sort of like a Liverpool accent. But it's kind of faded a little bit in recent years. Kind of like how Robert Pattinson's has faded.
Yeah.
Little sad. Oh, actually, Rob is going to tie back into this later.
Oh my God, okay.
Yep. Wait. Like at the end.
Okay, well, let's hang on.
Yeah. But his full name, Alexander David Turner. He was born January 6th, 1986, so he's a Capricorn. Born in Sheffield, England, which is where Arctic Monkeys formed. His parents were both secondary school teachers, and he grew up an only child. So is that why he wanted to be a star? I don't know. He grew up next door to, or near, very close to at least, Matt Helders, who is another founding member of Arctic Monkeys. And they were really into music with their friends as kids, just, messing around, having fun. It seems like they really hung out in the neighborhood. There's a lot of talk about, he lived in the neighborhood too. So that's cute. He was a bright and popular but reserved kid. He was into English, photography, and psychology when he was older. He did writing, but he didn't show anybody, apparently. And apparently Alex was always the quiet one in the group. Him and Matt Helders and Andy Nicholson decided to start Arctic Monkeys in mid-2002 when Alex was 16. And then Jamie Cook, a neighbor who went to a different school, was invited to join the band too. And I guess Helders considered Alex the obvious candidate to write the lyrics because I knew he had a thing for words, and Alex slowly began to share songs with his bandmates. I have always wondered, how do bands decide who's going to write the lyrics? That's a big deal, I
feel like probably, sometimes they split that responsibility, right?
Yeah, sometimes they do, but I feel like sometimes they don't.
Often comes down to, I bet, just who's best at it.
Yeah, I guess that's what happened here, too. I feel like I would want, I don't know, maybe I would be a control freak. I was like, I want to contribute to the lyrics.
I know. That's like, I don't know how to do the other stuff, so that's all I could probably do.
That's all I can do. That would be awesome. I've always wanted to be like Bernie to Elton John. I'll just write the words.
Yeah, exactly. I won't perform. I won't write any music.
Yeah.
I'll just give you the material.
That would be awesome. So Arctic Monkeys, in the early days, they were playing at local pubs. They played some original songs and covers. Over the summer, after they first started, Alex played as a rhythm guitarist for a funk band, and then through that, he met a record producer, and he asked him if he would produce Arctic Monkeys music, and they did. I read that they had one demo album that, like, nobody ever really heard, and then they had another one. I don't know. Not important. But the guy liked their sound, and they recorded a demo CD, and they handed out free copies after their shows in Northern England. And then they were playing in Manchester. Alex was working at a bar. It was very, DIY, not that glamorous or anything. But by the end of 2004, crowds, like, going to their local shows were starting to sing along to their songs. I don't think they had that many songs. I think they had, like, 10, 20 maybe original songs, and they were just playing the same ones over and over. And their song, I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor, was played on BBC Radio 1, and the rest is history, basically. It became really popular on MySpace and sites like that, and I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor, I love that song, was number 1 on the singles chart in England. Their album, Whatever They Say I Am, I'm Not, was number 1 on the charts in England. They were a huge band in England. Not as much here, but I think people still know them. Like, if you're into alternative rock, like, you know who they are. Their second album, Favorite Worst Nightmare, came out in 2007. It has the song Fluorescent Adolescent, which was a big hit for them. And that was in my Twitter bio for years, back when I had Twitter. Yeah. That was my little bio. It just said Fluorescent Adolescent.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Before Alexa, he dated Johanna Bennett, the front woman of a band. I'm sorry, I didn't write what band, but she later went on to marry one of the guys from Kings of Leon, which is just funny. Just seems like a small world. Type. Yeah, it's like similar bands. I don't know. I'm sure he dated other girls too, but I'm not sure who. Okay, but the lady of the hour, Alexa Chung. So she's apparently the same height as Alex. They're both about 5'8". So it's kind of cute.
For some reason, I thought she was taller.
Me too.
A model.
I know. I thought she was going to be like 6 feet tall, but I guess not.
She has very long legs.
She does. Very, very long legs. Very thin arms and legs. Yeah, she's a model. Or she was. Still is. I think she still is. Alexa, from my observations, seems like a very creative, fun, witty, down-to-earth person. Even though she, works with all these extremely high fashion brands, she still seems pretty humble and, I don't know, pretty normal, too. I don't think she's very pretentious about it. She said when she was younger she was a tomboy. I feel like a lot of models say that, but I kind of do believe it for her. She's into a lot of things, photography, fashion, and she has said that she spends her life pretending she's in a band.
I love that.
Yes. And she was born November 5th, 1983. Another Scorpio. Her mother is English. Her father is 3/4 Chinese, so that's where the Chung last name comes from. As a graphic designer, she grew up in Privet, Hampshire, England, and she's the youngest of 4 kids. I thought she was gonna be more like Cara Delevingne. I thought she was gonna be kind of a almost nobility type of person.
Yeah.
But she isn't, but I still think that they probably were sort of well-to-do, because she did have a pony named Pippi, so...
Oh, yeah. She was rich.
Yeah. She became a model at age 16 when, take a drink, she was spotted by a modeling scout.
Oh my god, was it at a mall?
No, it was actually at Reading Festival. But I'm guessing maybe
these modeling scouts, like,
I know,
aren't people coming to you guys? Like,
I know.
It's crazy they're, like, seeking people out.
Yeah.
You'd imagine, like, everyone's sending their headshots in. Why? It's, like, almost creepy that they're just, like, going up to people.
I know. There have been times when I was in New York, like, I would see some girl or even guy that looked really tall and thin and beautiful. And I would wonder to myself, are they a model? So I wonder if scouts, when they see somebody like that, they're just like, oh, okay, I'm going to go approach them. I don't know.
That's so funny. What a compliment that is.
I know. So she became a model age 16. And when she was in her late teens as a model, she started dating the fashion photographer David Titlow, who was 20 years her senior.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of crazy. In 2006, she became a presenter for the T4 show Pop World, and then co-hosted the music and comedy program on BBC called The Wall. And she kind of, pretty early on, like in her early 20s, retired from modeling. But she kind of kept doing it, but she was able to do these presenter jobs, and I don't think she liked modeling that much. So, Alexa, if you've never seen... I feel like I was just going to activate the speaker. We don't even have an Alexa, but...
I know. Probably if someone's listening to this live, like, or on speaker in their house, it might have triggered it.
She apparently gets kind of annoyed. I mean, she wasn't rude about it, but she gets asked a lot about the speaker and how it feels having the
I
same
think
name.
it's terrible. I think
They
it's
shouldn't have done
terrible
that.
Amazon, they should have never given
No.
the speaker a real person's name. It ruined that name. Now nobody can address if they have a friend named Alexa and they have an Alexa in their house. They cannot address that person.
I know, it's terrible.
They should have never. And I think Alexa is a beautiful name too.
It is.
It stinks what they did with that.
They should have just, I don't know, they could have used some kind of noun or made up word or medieval name or something that nobody uses anymore. Like, they could have done anything.
It's so crazy.
But yeah, Alexa, I was going to say, if you guys don't know, has very tall, long legs, messy bob hair she often has had, and known for her style. She's a fashion girl. She's done so many collaborations with fashion labels, and then later in the story she has her own fashion line, but she somehow became very affiliated with that world. And it's kind of funny because she also was a TV presenter, and she kind of talked about how all the fashion people don't seem to really pay attention to that, or they don't really know what she's doing with that. But that's kind of like her, or at least was her day job. Because, I mean, you don't get paid to go to parties and look cute, you know?
I knew she was a model, but, like, I thought of her as, like, being funny, too. Like, she seemed like she was, like, a personality.
She is. She is funny. And I was watching some videos of her to prepare for this, and it actually did crack me up a couple times. So she's very charming. In 2008, just about her, it girl status, she was asked by The Guardian how many events she gets invited to a night, and she said, "There's 3 tonight, and it's a wide range. One's like an art gallery thing, one's a mulberry party, and the other one's a friend's birthday, a party. But you know what? Recently I've been staying in because I'm working so much that I can't do my job properly and be hungover. So I'm sorry." And then she said, "I don't want to be famous for going out."
That would be so exhausting to have to go to 3 things in one night.
I know. That's crazy. My social calendar is not that.
No, but we've
popular.
talked about this, like, when we did our Lindsay Lohan episode. Like,
oh, yeah.
Celebrities do just have an endless amount of opportunities to party and go out, so it makes sense why they get addicted to it.
Yeah, totally. Oh, my gosh. And if you're kind of nervous, if you're getting invited to things every single night, you're probably drinking every single night, maybe doing drugs every single night. Like, that's a lot.
So crazy.
But she did have this TV job during the day, so she couldn't be that crazy. 2008, well, this is actually going kind of beyond the timeline, so maybe I shouldn't share this, but she did become the host of the morning music show for Channel 4 called Freshly Squeezed, and also the face of Rimmel London, so kind of like London's it girl. And before dating Alex, she apparently briefly dated Albert Hammond Jr. from The Strokes, which I read a book called Meet Me in the Bathroom, which is all about rock music rock music in New York City from 2001 to 2011. And Albert Hammond Jr., I just remember in that book, seemed like kind of bad news, like on drugs and fighting people and stuff. So Alexa, and she also dated British actor Douglas Booth, possibly Jared Leto, the Horrors frontman Ferris Badwin, and lead singer Ian Watkins. So she has a thing for lead singers. And she will talk about this later in the story, but I feel like this is a good time to talk about this because I asked you guys on our Patreon for the poll. I said, would you say you have a romantic type? And so far, wait, I'm going to refresh the page because sometimes more come in. So far, okay, 70% of you said yes, you do have a type, and 30% of you said no. And our listener Kate said, I hope you don't mind I'm sharing this, I don't have as much a physical type as a personality type. I do find as well I can be pretty attracted to many different personalities, but it comes down to more comparability. I think that's a narrower set of people than just my type. I think the same for Alexa, actually. She loves guys in bands and lead singers specifically. But I think that they don't all look I mean, a lot of them are like thin, lanky, white guys, but but they don't all look exactly the same. But Naggylicious also commented and said, yeah, ugly and mean to me. Sad face.
I hope that's a type that you know, eventually lose interest in.
Yeah, sometimes just recognizing it is the first step.
Exactly.
What do you think about all of that, Mel?
Well, yeah, I mean, my type used to be, I guess, emotionally unavailable. But, I've definitely grown out of that. I would say, yeah, my type used to be, like, very stoic and, yeah, unemotional and kind of cold. But
so Edward.
Now I don't think I don't think I have a type.
Nice. I don't know. I think that there is something kind of embarrassing about having a type, but I think it's kind of helpful too.
I think so as well. I mean, for a long time I wished I had one so I could more easily identify attraction right away, because dating just felt so daunting, having to go on a couple dates with someone to determine if I liked them, because I just didn't have like any initial feelings one way or the other. But I definitely have things that are not my type. Like I definitely have automatic non-attraction.
Me too.
If that's a word, for like distaste for some types, but
I mean, we're both in relationships now, so I guess it's we're all talking about the past here, but yeah I mean,
but God, I've been in the trenches. Like I definitely have thought long about.
yeah. I definitely have always liked artsy type of guys, and I have dated several guys with glasses, but it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't on purpose.
I feel like a lot of your guys have had like light brown hair. Not all, but some.
The thing is, I have been attracted to some people that weren't that type, but it just didn't work out with them.
Yeah. But honestly, that type is probably also the type that is attracted to you.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, I feel kind of weird. I hope no one's listening that knows me. But I have noticed that even my current boyfriend or like my ex-boyfriends, like I feel like some of the ex-girlfriends look a little similar to me. Like we're all kind of in a similar world. So whatever. But I think both Alex and Alexa have a type, and he also seems to like models. So it's not just her. But let's get into it.
But before we get into the episode, on the podcast, we've talked a lot about how mental health can affect relationships. And we recently learned of an organization that is doing a lot of important work to combat OCD in relationships.
Yeah, it's called NoCD. And, OCD is more than what you see on TV and in the movies. If you imagine having unwanted thoughts about your relationship stuck in your head all day, no matter how hard you try to make them go away, that's relationship OCD, which I feel like is a less known about type of OCD, but it comes with unrelenting, intrusive images, thoughts, and urges about your partner or loved one. And breaking the OCD cycle takes effective treatment. You can go to NoCD, so that's NOCD.com, to get evidence-based treatment. And on NoCD, you can book a call with a face-to-face licensed therapist, and NoCD is sponsored by most insurance companies. So yeah, it's a really cool organization that I feel like is pretty relevant to our show. And anybody that's struggling with a breakup, if you know someone, a loved one that is maybe having issues with relationship OCD, then you should tell them about NoCD. The couple today.
Yeah, how did they meet?
They first met at Tea in the Park, which is a Scottish music festival. Oh my gosh. This was July 2007. Alexa was 23, Alex 21. So they're pretty young.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of your adjectives.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny. Like, when I was younger, I thought that they were older, obviously.
Of course. Yeah,
but now that I look at the story, you know, it sadly kind of makes sense why, spoiler, they didn't end up together.
Oh, are you serious?
Mel!
I had a feeling you actually did spoil it, because you said earlier in the episode this is past the timeline.
Oh, yes. According to Digital Spy, now I don't know if this was at the festival. I think it was, but I don't really get it. But it says, Alex met Alexa at a backstage karaoke party that the group held on Friday night to celebrate guitarist Jamie Cook's birthday. Alex and Alexa were all over each other backstage. He was pulling out all the stops to impress her. She was lapping it up and giggling at his jokes. Alex whisked her off to a quiet corner on a bench and cuddled her as he taught her some chords.
Oh, wait, so we know this is for sure when they met. This is not like when the world found out about them dating?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. This might be just when the world found out, but
yeah,
this is, and that's just according to a source, so who knows? But
because they just sound like they're already cozy, but I guess sometimes when you're at an event like that, it doesn't take too long.
Yeah. It does sound a little bit cliche, like, oh, he's gonna go teach her how to play guitar.
Yeah.
And it says, after a while, they disappeared off to his tour bus with the promise of more lessons on his acoustic guitar with some peace and quiet. She was only too happy to accept the offer, and they walked off into the night together. So, classic, went off to the tour bus type of meeting. A couple months later, it seems like they are still together. There's a Daily Mail article titled, When Alex Met Alexa.
So in theme.
It is. Arctic Monkeys singer, hand in hand with Channel 4 star. And then also in October, apparently Arctic Monkeys was accepting Best Band in the World award at the Q Awards. And apparently Alex left the other lads to meet Alexa at the Met Bar. And a source said, no sooner had they bought a round of vodkas, meaning him and Alexa, they were snogging in the dance floor, right in the middle of the club. She seemed totally smitten by him and was laughing at his jokes and stroking his hair. They looked like they really care for each other.
Aww.
Yeah, so they're bopping around London. They go into shows, bars together, nightlife, being young. And then not too long after that, they met in the summer 2007. Now it's 2008. It's pretty official because she's in his music video for his other band, The Last Shadow Puppets. The song's called My Mistakes Were Made for You, and it's very mysterious. It's like a night shot, retro 70s film vibe, and in the video it's him and Alexa. It looks like they're in a car crash, and it looks like she's dead. And he leaves the car and is playing guitar with Miles Kane in the gazebo. And then it appears that she also walks away from the accident and is alive, and she just walks into the darkness of the woods. Yes. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't know if we should read into it. Probably not. But I feel like that's pretty serious to, you know, only be together for, you know, less than a year, and you're already like, be in my music video, you know? And she's right there front and center. It's not like she's just in the background or something. This is a random thought I just put in. I don't know why I put it here in the timeline, but I guess because she's in this music video. When I was younger, I was interested in Alexa Chung, but I was also kind of annoyed by her because I used to be kind of annoyed by a lot of people who were models / DJs / fashion designers / photographer. You know what I mean? I don't know why.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I felt like, what's your job? Like, what the heck?
Yeah, it seems like they have an easy life, and like a lot of it. I mean, a lot of it comes from privilege too. Like, I mean, like you said, she probably was well-to-do. She had a pony, and also she just happened to be born beautiful. It's like easy to kind of be a hater because you're like, God, you're not working your retail job like in the summers, paying your student debt. Like, I don't know. It was so weird. Like, I was interested in her, but I was somewhat a hater too. For that reason. I think I was just jealous because, honestly, I want that. Like, I want to just be involved in a ton of different creative projects. So, yeah. I mean, it's good to be, like, self-aware of that. It's natural to be jealous.
I guess so. Okay, then February 2008. First of all, 2008, what a time.
What a time.
Twilight. February 2008, the letter.
Okay.
This is when the letter happened, people. And apparently, according to my research, the letter is real.
Okay, but who wrote it?
Okay, so Alexa actually talked to The Guardian and said, there was a really upsetting tabloid story when Alex had written me a Valentine's card and I had accidentally left it in a bar. And someone sold it to the Sun and they printed it and they changed it so it didn't look like a Valentine card. And they just said it was a love letter. They slated him for being really soppy. And then she said, look, it's my boyfriend and it's Alex. Of course it's going to be written like a story. And The Guardian asked, was he peeved? And she said he was really cool with it. And he said, I'm not upset that everyone saw it because that's the truth and I couldn't give a shit. And then he went on and said, but at least you have a copy of it now.
I mean, it is super personal, but it's better to be exposed for writing something sweet to your girlfriend than something terrible and nasty. At the end of the day, like, there are worse things than being revealed to be, like, a softie and a romantic. And
it looks really sweet. I mean, some people think it's cheesy, but the weird thing is you can't, at least I couldn't find anywhere a picture of the original. I think maybe the Sun just typed it up and then some girl wrote it in cursive and put it on Tumblr. Oh, yeah. I think that's how that happened. Some people do wonder, or they did wonder back in the day, did Alexa leave it behind on purpose?
Oh, yeah. Maybe. Why would you, like...
How could you leave it?
Yeah, honestly, it makes her look bad that, like, your boyfriend would write you a really romantic Valentine's Day card and you forget about it. Leave it at the bar. That's pretty bad.
It was a really sweet, well-written card. And to just leave it there, I can't believe that. Was she drunk? Maybe.
Had to be. Yeah, that's honestly, like, regrettable on her part.
I know. I mean, accidents happen, but...
I would be heartbroken if I wrote someone, like, a really sweet letter and they just, like, lost it.
I know. I can just picture him being like, oh, where's your card? Oh.
I know. Oh, shit.
And I feel like I would try to go back and get it. I don't know. I don't get how that happened.
Especially, like, let's say they ended up together. Obviously, they didn't. But, like, that's a relic from the early stages of dating.
I know.
That's so special.
And it's Alex Turner.
I know. Gosh.
Sorry, but
at least, hey, someone did her a favor. Like, if you lost that letter, it's like, okay, now I can look back and I can see what he wrote.
Now it's memorialized forever online on this podcast.
Yeah. That worked out.
Yeah. And then Also, February 2008, there were the NME Shockwaves Awards. And I guess they have fashion categories, and Alexa won Best Dressed, and Alex was actually in that category too. He was also in the Best Dressed category. But she won, and there was a news story that after the NME Awards, Alexa puked on Alex.
Oh.
The story said Alex and Alexa were having a cheeky snog by the lifts. Shortly before he was due to go on stage, it was all getting pretty heated. Hang on. Is this, like, what? Why would they be getting heated? When all of a sudden Alexa began to heave and was suddenly violently sick. After filming her show all day, it appears she developed a severe bout of food poisoning. Alex was a knight in shining armor, though. He insisted on accompanying her to the toilets and holding her hair back as she hurled in the loo.
That's sweet.
Yeah. I did at first think it was, because I read about it a couple places, I thought at first it was from being drunk, but okay, maybe it was food poisoning.
That's worse, honestly.
I know, food poisoning is the worst.
That can come out either end. That's tough.
I know. I feel like stuff like that happens eventually to every couple, though.
That's what I really like about my boyfriend now, is like, we're now at a stage where like we both get stomach aches around each other, and it's like, it's just comfortable.
Mel, that's awesome. You need that.
I do need it, because I get, Lord knows I get stomach aches a lot.
Oh.
But guess what? So does he. Match made in heaven.
That's perfect.
I know.
Okay, so back on the timeline. 2009, they're still together. Arctic Monkeys release their third album called Humbug. And this album has my favorite song of theirs, Cornerstone. Love it. But I'm not going to talk about that song. But I am going to look at one song lyrics. You could look at a couple of them probably, but just for the sake of time, I'm just going to do this one. Because, Alex writes the lyrics, so you can assume some of them are inspired by Alexa Chung. And there's this song called The Fire and the Thud. And there's some cute lyrics. It says, "The day after you stole my heart, everything I touched told me it would be better shared with you, and now you're hiding in my soup, and this book reveals your face, and there's a splashing in my eyelids, as this concentration continually breaks. I did request the mark you cast, it didn't heal as fast, I hear your voice in silences." So, is that about Alexa? Maybe. Probably. But then also in 2009, Alexa reveals that she's moving to New York City.
Oh, no.
To host It's On with Alexa Chung on MTV. And I actually used to watch this show randomly at lunchtime in the summertime back in the day. It only ran for 2 seasons.
This is how I know her, actually.
Yeah, It's On with Alexa Chung. And Alex agreed to move with her to New York.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if it's true, but an NME magazine article claimed it caused tension with the band, but they didn't break up or anything, so I don't know how serious that was. But, now that she has this American show, people are over here are learning who she is. People magazine had an article about her. They said her boyfriend is in a band. While her love life is a hot topic back home, Chung admits her relationship with Alex Turner, lead singer of British rock band Arctic Monkeys, is a lot more low-key than people think. It's not like we're always breaking up and getting back together or cheating on each other, she says. We're quite boring, really.
Oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't assume that they were breaking up and cheating on each other. Like, she kind of put that thought in my head there.
I know, right? Huh?
Always.
Always. I don't know. And so now they're living in New York together, and I think Alex seemed to enjoy it just based on pictures and times he talked about it and everything. And she's doing her show, and she talked about their life together again in an article about a day in the life of Alexa Chung. And she mentioned Alex. She said, "If we're out, I'm always the party pooper. I like to be in bed by 10 p.m. Sometimes I take my computer, which isn't very sexy, is it? I'm obsessed with Facebook. Alex and I like to chill out to a record. and we fall asleep with our arms around each other. He's really little, and so am I, so no one gets a dead arm. Sometimes we wake up in the same position. It's the best thing ever. So it's very cute. Very cute. There's really not a lot known about what's going on with them. This is in 2010. But then June 2010, there's this article in the Mirror, British tabloid, that said that they had a row at Glastonbury Festival. But who knows if that's really true? I don't know. March 2011, Alex releases an EP for the movie Submarine. It's a soundtrack that he wrote for this movie, which is a movie that I really like. It's really cute. It's just like a coming-of-age British teenager, Perks Being Wallflower type of movie. And the soundtrack is so sweet and soft. It's like this little acoustic album, and it's actually my top played songs of all time is still this soundtrack.
Really?
Because it's just, you know, like on rainy days, I don't know, I like to listen to kind of soft music, but this record is really good because it's not depressing. It's like, it's great for rainy days, but it doesn't get you too down, like, I don't know, Bon Iver.
I should listen to it. Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, even if you haven't seen the movie, the Submarine soundtrack is really good. And Arctic Monkeys, they've never had any music like this, and Alex has never released music like this ever again. I mean, they have some more slow acoustic songs, but nothing really like this. And, you know, he's with Alexa during this time, so you have to wonder if it could be inspired by her or feelings from her. And I'm just going to read some lyrics from one song, Stuck on the Puzzle. It's cute. It says, that something in your magnetism hadn't just made him drop whoever's hand it was that he was holding. I've been searching from the bottom to the top for such a sight as the one I caught when I saw your fingers dimming the lights like you're used to being told that you're trouble, and I spent all night stuck on the puzzle. And I don't know why. I can just picture Alexa Chung. I don't know. I can picture him thinking of her, like, dimming the lights and being sneaky, and I don't know. So I thought that was cute. But Alex was interviewed by Vanity Fair May 2011, and in a very carefree way, he mentioned his girlfriend, Alexa, and moving to New York for her job. And I don't think I put any quotes from that, but it just seemed like he felt very comfortable to mention her and wasn't guarded about it or anything. And then I read a quote from Alexa about Alex, and I actually couldn't figure out when this was from, so I just put it in this place in the timeline, but I don't know if this actually happened here. But to Vogue, she said about Alex, he's the sort of person who reads the dictionary at night. I'm like, dude, you're 25, let's go to the pub.
I thought she goes to bed at
I know, right?
She likes to be in bed by 10:30 though.
I know.
And doesn't she bring her laptop to the pub too? She said?
No, she brings her laptop to bed.
Oh, I thought, okay, that's better.
But there's no way she went to bed at 10.
No, because you have to be, she said in bed by 10:30.
I know.
That means you have to be home by like at least 9:45. Like.
And if she's going to all these events, I just think there's no way.
No, girl.
No. I thought it was funny, too, where she, in that day in the life, she said, I get up really early, 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I don't get up that early because I work remotely, but that's not that early.
That's so funny. Yeah. I get up really early, 9 a.m. Any later than 9, I do feel like, oh my God. Sometimes you need to sleep in later, but like any later, I'm like, I slept in.
I know. These days,
I mean,
at
9
least.
is late. That's so funny.
Yeah. So, June 2011, Alex was interviewed by the Taipei Times, apparently. Random. Interviewed by the Taipei Times, and he talked about music, but also about Alexa, and was asked, do you think that the relationship magnifies attention that the band gets? And he said, I suppose it does, yeah. And then they said, following your girlfriend to New York for her work is quite new man for a Sheffield lad. I don't really get what that means, but I guess just saying that's a big deal. And he said, I was glad she asked me to go with her. And then the interviewer said, but moving to the U.S. for someone is pretty special. Really rather lovely. And he said, I didn't think of it like that. I thought the pleasure is all mine. And then he said, the first time I went to New York, it was really exciting, and I thought, given half the chance, it would be nice to live there. The same with London. So if you get something to give you the impetus, that's great.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, that makes sense.
yeah.
I mean, I have a friend that just moved to San Francisco because her boyfriend was moving there, and they, like, weren't dating super long, but she was like, I was ready for a change, so it was nice to have, like, a reason to move there.
Cool.
But yeah, it's like, sometimes it's nice to have that thing that is the reason to do it, but
Yeah.
also he's a musician. Like, it makes
Yeah.
sense for him to go to New York. It's not like he's moving to, I don't know, like, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, like
I know. Yeah, he
Dallas,
seemed,
Texas.
he seemed
like,
uncomfortable with them implying, like, that was really nice of you.
yeah. I mean, does he still live in New York, or is he back in England now? Do you know?
I think he's back in England, but I also think he then lived in LA for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I kind of assume that anyone who's famous spends a lot of time in New York and LA.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. There's more music. Arctic Monkeys. So that last thing was just a solo project, but then Arctic Monkeys, this is 2011. They released the album Suck It and See.
Your love is like a studded leather headlock. Your kiss, it could put creases in the rain. You're rarer than a can of dandelion and burdock. And those other girls are just post-mix lemonade.
Which sounds really vulgar, but apparently it's a British saying that just means, like, just try something and see if it works, or, like, give it a try. So
Okay.
I'm sure there's, like, a double entendre, but suck it and see. And
Suck it and see.
yeah.
God.
The title track, Suck It and See, it is pretty romantic. And Arctic Monkeys at this time hadn't been known for having very romantic songs, I would say. So I do think it could be inspired by Alexa, as well as a couple other songs like She's Thunderstorms. But I'm just going to read a couple lyrics for any fans listening. He writes, your love is like a studded leather headlock. Your kiss, it could put creases in the rain. You're rarer than a can of dandelion and burdock, which is a old-fashioned British drink. I didn't know that. You're rarer than a can of dandelion and burdock, and those other girls are just post-mix lemonade. Suck it and see, you never know. Sit next to me before I go. Be cruel to me, 'cause I'm a fool for you. And then he also says, I poured my aching heart into a pop song. I couldn't get the hang of poetry. That's not a skirt, girl. That's a sawn-off shotgun, and I can only hope you've got it aimed at me. Blue moon girls from once upon a Shangri-La, how often I wonder where you are. You have that face that just says, baby, I was made to break your heart.
Oh.
And maybe she did, because then in early July, it's reported that after 4 years together, Alex and Alexa have broken up.
Ugh. Do you have any sense of what happened? Or
Well, you know,
sources
there's
say
all
anything?
there's all these talks from sources. One insider told The Mirror, things haven't been going well, and they haven't seemed like a couple for the past few weeks. At Glastonbury Festival, it always comes out in the festivals, they barely said a word to each other. Alexa was out seeing bands with all her buddies, like Pixie Geldof and Fifi Brown, while Alex was on his tour bus chilling with his band. They really wanted to give it a go and hold it together, and seemed to be getting back on track, but things got bad again, and they both decided enough was enough. And then a spokesman for the couple said, it's completely amicable, but yes, it's true, they have split. Alexa has moved all her stuff out and is concentrating on getting her American TV career back on track. Because, oh yeah, It's On with Alexa Chung was canceled after 2 seasons. The source also went on to say Alex has gigs in America next month, but none of them are on the East Coast. Then he's planning a UK tour. They are very busy and have grown apart, but they want to keep the news quiet. Should add that to the drinking game. People being too busy.
I know.
I hate it.
It stinks. But you know what? Like, I feel like if it was meant to be, you'd still be able to make it work.
Yes, I've always felt that way. I've always felt like when someone tells you they're too busy to date or something, I mean, I don't want to hurt your feelings if you've heard that before, but I feel like people can always make time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the ones that matter most. And if someone can't or won't, then you're better off without them, and you know.
Exactly. But I think it's just at the end of the day, in those situations, it's not a match because some people might need more from a relationship than other people are able to give. Like, some people might be really busy, but they're okay not speaking every day, or they're okay. Like, but I feel like that takes a very stable person.
Yeah.
And, like, if they're used to, like, talking 24/7 and seeing each other every day, then it's probably too hard to maintain that connection.
Yeah. It's just interesting, though, because, you know, they've been together for years. They've had pretty much the same job this whole time. You know, why could they do it in the beginning and why can't they do it anymore, you know? Maybe they just got tired and...
Yeah, that's true. I mean, those, like, what, they started dating 23 and 21?
Yeah.
Those years, like, people drastically change in that time.
They do. They do. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But, Alex reportedly moved on very quickly after this. Like, I would say maybe I should have gotten the actual time stamps, guys, so I'm sorry, but maybe within, like, a month or two, I don't know, was dating this girl, Ariel Vandenberg. She's also a TV host and model, which is weird.
Oh, that had to hurt. Like, in a perfect world, your ex would take a while to move on as well, so that way, by the time you accept that you're no longer together, like, you don't care if there was somebody else.
Yes, in a perfect world. But that doesn't always happen.
No, because for him, people who do that, he probably wasn't really over it because he needed to replace her.
Alexa was linked to a lot of guys in, like, the following year, and they were, I think, all musicians. Once again returned to have a fling with Albert Hammond Jr. from The Strokes, which is crazy. I just gotta say, it's crazy that she had this fling with a guy from The Strokes because Alex has said that Arctic Monkeys was inspired to become a band because of The Strokes. And they even have a song where he says, in the opening lines, he says, "I just wanted to be one of the Strokes." So it's just crazy that she would rebound from this with one of the guys from The Strokes.
That's legendary, baby. That's so funny.
Also, the musician Theo Hutchcraft and Rob Aykroyd, who's a guitarist from Florence and the Machine. And okay, that's it for now. There's gonna be more. But in the October issue that year of Harper's Bazaar, she actually talked about all these lead singers and musicians she's drawn to, and she said, "It's the groupie vibe that I'm attracted to. They had these amazing love affairs, and both the men and women made amazing by them. The girls in the 60s were never overshadowed by the men they dated. You can talk about Jane Shrimpton without having to mention Bailey or Terrence Stamp first. I fell out of love with the 60s for a while, I think because I was so identified with it. It's like Sienna Miller when she did Boho, then suddenly stopped because she was like, fuck, what else can I do because I've done it? Everyone copied my sodden coat for a while too. It was my Harrods Kids vintage one. Every girl suddenly had one and I was like, I got really bored of smock dresses and loafers for a while, but I feel like I'm ready to fall in love ready to fall in love all over again." So that was about fashion, but I just included it because I feel like she was ready to change after this relationship, and I also think her and Alex were kind of into this like 60s thing, so she's kind of saying she's ready to change. And then she actually in 2013 she released a book called It, meaning It Girl, and I remember we sold this book at Urban Outfitters when I worked there, and I used to look at it when I had nothing to do. It's not exactly a memoir. It's more of a fashion book with lots of pictures, kind of like a scrapbook, but there's some writing in there too. And there's a chapter in the book called Heartbreak, which many people assume is about Alex Turner. And I'm just going to read a paragraph from it. It says, "The problem with heartbreak is that nobody can help you when you're heartbroken. Nobody and nothing. Not the films you watch alone desperately searching for a character who feels the way you do. Not the glasses or bottles of whiskey you keep by your bed, and certainly not Instagram." Wait, I'm going to pause. I've never kept whiskey by my bed, have you?
No, I think I have had wine by my bed just coincidentally, but like I didn't keep it there on purpose.
I just think it's funny the way she says that, like as if everybody does that. Like, oh. Yeah,
wait. Like,
not the whiskey you keep handy by your pillow.
Yeah, like, Alexa,
girl,
check in on that.
I know. And then she goes on to say, and certainly not Instagram. Instagram will not mend your broken heart, despite your best efforts to post pictures of yourself looking happy. Every time you post a picture of yourself to Instagram looking fake happy, a fairy dies. Fact. Also, scrolling through photos of girls your ex may or may not be shagging won't help you.
Oh.
You need to you need to remind yourself that the right filter can be fantastically flattering, and she probably doesn't even look that good in real life. Which I'm also going to pause again because it's crazy that she literally was a model.
I know.
And she is self-conscious about that and is even comparing herself to other girls and saying like, oh, she has filters on, you know, she doesn't look better. Yeah. It's crazy.
That just goes to show that even comparing yourself, it's useless. It's violence against yourself.
It is. It is. And she also goes on to write in one part, "I am a self-confessed groupie. I have never dated a man who is not lead singer." And then she says, "Boys say they don't mind how you get your hair done, but then they leave you for someone with really great standard girl hair, and the next thing you know, you're alone with a masculine crop cut crying into your granola."
I will say that's one thing when it comes to like beauty standards. Sorry, I'm like coughing.
Oh, it's
boys
okay.
will say stuff like that of like, because for me, like boys will say, "Oh, I don't care when you wear makeup," or "I don't care when you get your eyebrows done," or you know, do this, do that. But like, actually, subconsciously, you do like. When you notice, and I hate to say this, I don't want to like reinforce beauty standards, but like. Just guys aren't aware of what goes into
That's true.
The appearance that they're attracted to. And so like when they say all that stuff, it's like they think they want someone who's just like completely all natural, like they don't put any effort into it, but they don't realize what that even means.
I would agree with that. And it's too bad she felt that way because, okay, I like Alex Turner. I had a crush on him. But I don't think he looked the best at the end of their relationship, to be honest.
No, I'm looking at him right now.
But at the end of their relationship is kind of when he has a little makeover. I mean, after their relationship.
Oh.
So it's frustrating that she feels that way because, I don't know, I don't think the long hair suited him, but that's just me. Yes, she was interviewed by The Guardian by the journalist Hadley Freeman about this book and asked about the heartbreak section, and Freeman asked who caused the heartbreak, and she said it was various people. There was one big thing, and then there were various ill-advised flings. I had to get over him, so yeah. Oh, that's funny she acknowledges ill-advised, because even I was like, girl, what were you doing with Albert Hammond Jr.? Get away from him. And then the journalist Freeman says, "I tell her my theory about heartbreak, that it takes half the amount of time you were with someone to get over them." She nods a little sadly, and she says, "Yeah, I agree with that, but is this gross to talk about? I feel like he wouldn't talk about it. I don't know how relevant it is now, whereas if you asked me at the time, how you doing, no one asked me. I don't know whether to be open and vulnerable about it and say I had a shit time, or to be quiet. What do you think?" And then Freeman says, "It's up to you," I say. "But I guess it might be healthy for your younger fans to know that your life is not always perfect despite what photos suggest." She laughs at the suggestion that her life might be perfect, and she says, "But I don't want to imply he broke my heart. I was grieving for the loss of something." And she says, "I know how the media does that whole poor her thing, like they did with Jennifer Aniston. Not that I'm comparing
I was just thinking about Jennifer
No
Aniston.
way.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Not that I'm comparing myself to her, of course, but do you see what I mean?" And then Hadley Freeman writes, "Yet typically Chung can't help herself and carries on." And she says, "I'm grateful for the experience of that shit time and for being on my own. I'd never really been on my own. I'd always gone from one relationship to the next. So I had to learn all this stupid stuff. Like, how do I work my fucking TV? And now there isn't a dude to tell me how to put up the blinds, but it's good to learn how to work your way around a drill." She and Al, as she calls him, are still friends. "Oh yeah, he's my best friend," she says quietly. And she's currently single, and she says proudly, and feels much calmer for it. "For how long?" I ask. "About a month," she replies, and looks a little confused when I laugh. So yeah, life went on. She dated other guys, Alexander Skarsgård actually, and Matt Hitt. And he dated that girl Arielle Vandenberg for a while, and then Louise Verneau. They both had a lot of professional success after this. She launched her own fashion label, and she had a Netflix show called Next in Fashion with Tan France, and he's released a bunch more albums with Arctic Monkeys and the Last Shadow Puppets. In September 2013, Arctic Monkeys released their AM album, which is very iconic. I feel like it was super, super popular in the US. Has songs like "Do I Wanna Know," "Are You Mine?" "Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High?" But, you know, I would like to look into these songs and wonder if they're about her. They're really, like, sexy songs. Like, very different vibe than the other albums. But he had been dating somebody else, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think
No
you
way
can
to
say
really know.
that it's about her or anything, so...
Yeah.
Sadly.
We've talked about this. Like, music, you can only interpret so much. Like, even songs that are, like, widely believed to be about someone.
Yeah. You can't know. And I will say, like, starting in 2012, which would be, I guess, like, a year after... They broke up in 2011. Okay, they broke up, like, summer 2011. At least publicly 2012, but maybe it started 2011. I don't know. But I would say that's when Alex changed. Like, he had a new persona. He seemed, like, so shy and quiet. And then with this AM album, suddenly he's wearing, like, a leather jacket, this greaser hairdo, sunglasses, even at night. And he just seems, like, so much more confident and sexier and even more intimidating. And it is just interesting. It's, like, post-breakup, he suddenly is totally different. I mean,
a breakup will do that.
It will.
It will. Quite the time to reinvent yourself.
It is. So, you know what? They're not together anymore, but to the shock and delight of Alex and Alexa shippers worldwide, they were spotted together in New York in June 2014, 3 years after their split. They were photographed during the daytime, standing on the sidewalk, talking and smoking cigarettes together. And there were rumors flying around that they were getting back together, and some people even say they saw them at Heathrow Airport, but I don't think it was true. And he was actually dating a model named Taylor Badgley at the time. So, I don't know. I don't even know if they really were at the airport together, and I think maybe they were just catching up.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. And
what are the odds that people spotted them at that time?
I know.
Now?
There's a bunch of pictures. And she was 30 when that happened, and he was 28. So, you know, a bit older. Okay, and I have just, like, a weird side story to tell about his girlfriend at the time in 2014. He was dating this model, Taylor Badgley, and apparently they got tattoos of each other's names. But then they broke up in 2018. Yeah. And she changed her tattoo of his name to be a gravestone that says R.I.P. Alex.
Oh, that's tacky.
Wasn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That's honestly worse, though. I think that is worse, because that's, like, a bigger tattoo now.
I know.
I think there's a lot of other things. Like, you could just, like, fill it, like, have a solid thing around it.
I know.
Like, just get heart around it, fill it in. It's a short.
Yeah.
It's only 4 letters.
I know.
Unless it was a really big tattoo.
It was just on the arm, but the letters were pretty spread out.
Oh no! You gotta
Girl, why'd you do that?
do close spacing for.
I don't know what he did with his. Guys, be careful about getting
Be really
tattoos
careful.
of your significant other. We've talked
Unless
about
it's
this.
like a common name and you know somebody else with that name, and you could like play it off like that's who it was. But like, wouldn't that suck to be dating someone and they have a tattoo of their ex's name on them?
Oh,
Ugh,
that would be horrible.
God.
I would be
Don't
so
set your
insecure.
don't set your future significant other up for that type of jealousy.
Wait till you're married.
A couple years.
Yes. So then there's one more instance in this story in 2017. So this is 6 years after their breakup. Apparently, there's a story that Alexa was at Paris Fashion Week at the Chez Away Hotel when apparently Alexa's song from Arctic Monkeys, Fluorescent Adolescent, was playing. And I guess she went up and requested that the DJ change it. And he did.
Oh. I mean, hey, it's only a couple minutes. I know. Go to the bathroom. It's kind of worse. But you know when you're a few drinks in.
I can't stand it listening to this right now.
Yeah.
Today, Alex, I mentioned her earlier. Alex is dating French musician Louise Verneau. Happy for you guys. And Alexa is actually, apparently, I didn't know about this, is dating Tom Sturridge, who is Robert Pattinson's friend.
I was thinking about him earlier because you mentioned Sienna Miller.
Yes.
Who he has a baby with.
Yes.
So she definitely knows Robert Pattinson, runs in the same circle.
She must.
Is that what you said, Robert Pattinson will come up?
Yep. And Tom Sturridge is an actor. I feel like he's maybe dabbled in music, but he's not a lead singer. He's not, in a touring band or anything. He's not super famous. So. No, he's not. He's not. So that's a little different from her. And yeah, I wish them the best.
Oh, I wish them the best too.
I actually I've never seen this before. I'm sure people have done this, but I saw somebody photoshopped a picture of Alex and Alexa, what they look like now together, and captioned it how Alex and Alexa would look if they were together now. And it made me feel so sad. Yeah. Oh, someone should do that for Rob and Kristen.
I know.
It made me feel really sad.
Aww.
But you know what? We always have these memories. Odds they get back together.
Not nothing, but I would say 8%.
That's a good guess. Maybe I'll just be optimistic and I'll say 10% to be different. But
we've said 5 for some people. I for some reason don't think it's that low because neither of them are married.
No, they're not.
Neither of them have kids. It's
But it has been a while, so it's sometimes hard to open the door again.
Yeah.
So
that much time passes.
Yes.
You don't really know each other anymore.
Yeah. Oh.
And it ended for a reason.
It did. And it seems like they're okay. Hopefully. But yeah, that is Alex Turner and Alexa Chung.
That was so fun.
Thanks, Mel.
I like learning about these couples I know absolutely nothing about. So
yeah, me too.
It keeps me on my toes because I don't know how it will end. And I forget. I don't even know if you told me. You probably did.
I did, but I think this will spark your memory. Next week. I said that wicked loud. Next week on Patreon, bonus episode. This will be about 2 directors.
Oh, I know.
And that could be a couple couples. It could be there's actually a few couples that fit that description, but you'll just have to find out. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening.
We love you.
And we'll get back together next week.
your heart filled with pain, shall I come back again? Tell